Women's college basketball coming your way on ESPN from Philadelphia, where Temple University will try to play Rocky Balboa. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. It is #1 UConn taking on the Owls of Temple. UConn on a 60-game winning streak, trying for their 4th straight national championship, taking on Temple off to a great start. In fact, they are 2nd in the American Conference with 2 losses. One of them was to UConn last month. Pam Ward along with Carolyn Peck, and Carolyn, UConn's last game, an impressive win at South Carolina.
They're hitting their stride, everybody healthy. They had a good balanced attack. But Brianna Stewart with 25 points, 10 rebounds. She also had 5 block shots. Connecticut had a 21-point lead at one point, ended up knocking off the #2 team in the country by 12.
Brianna Stewart, Mariah Jefferson, and Morgan Tuck scored all but 13 points in that game for Gino Auriemma. 3rd longest streak in NCAA history at 60 straight wins. And yes, UConn holds the other 2 best winning streaks, taking on a former assistant in Tanya Cardoza. Looking pretty good. They're trying to get into the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011, and we are underway. Mariah Jefferson with the ball in her hands, starting along with Nurse, Stewart, Samuelson, and Morgan Tuck, who has the ball in her hands. And Morgan Tuck, very important cog in this UConn machine.
Tanya Cardoza told us they were going to start in a man-to-man. That's all they know. They are not a zone team, so they're going to have to communicate and be ready to rotate to take care of each other.
She said, in fact, we were the worst zone team ever, which is a pretty bold statement. This is what Mariah Jefferson does, maybe better than anybody in the country. A steal and a put in for her, averaging just under 3 steals per game. And UConn off to a quick start. Stewart could not block the shot of Fountain, who got the miss.
Fountain told us yesterday, he told me she could dunk. She needed to go up a little bit higher on that finish.
But Stewart has a way of affecting shots. Inside to Tuck with the miss. Rebound battled for and taken by Aaliyah Butts at 5'4", the smallest player on the floor, and she gets it over to Atkinson for the hoop and the foul. But showing no fear on that drive.
When you take on the #1 team in the country, you have to stay in attack mode. Temple has to show no fear, and Butts in that attack, and then the drop off for the layup. That's showing that the Temple Owls believe.
Samuelson called for the foul. Atkinson, who is from New Haven, Connecticut, gets the 3-point play. Tanya Cardoza said that they want to attack. They did not do that when they lost by 55 at UConn last month. So a different mindset for her team. Fitzgerald off glass, good offensive rebound, and it forces a foul. Fountain drew it.
Foul number 3, Morgan Tuck. That's her
first foul on Morgan Tuck, 2nd team foul.
What Temple likes to do is they like to trap and try to turn you over. Tanya Cardoza said that her players, that's all they know. When you try to set them back in a zone and be patient, that's not in their DNA. They like to anticipate, like to rotate. Sometimes they've got a lead on some of the teams in the in the American Conference, and they won't pull off the press. They're so used to that aggressive defensive style.
Fountain coming off a terrific game, career highs in both points and rebounds. And an impressive win over Houston on Thursday, and more pressure. Samuelson from the outside, hit a 2 earlier, but can't get that to fall. And Fitzgerald head up, looking to run. Taking it right inside. Stewart gets the rebound after bothering the shot of Atkinson.
And Gino Auriemma told us before the game, Katie Lou Samuelson and Kia Nurse are 2 players he needs to make those 3-point shots.
We all know about the big 3 and Stewart, who scores her first of what will undoubtedly be many baskets. Jefferson, Stewart, and Tuck, all 3 tremendous players. But yes, he said Samuelson and Nurse have to hit from the outside. It opens things up more for his big 3.
Well, the size advantage that Brianna Stewart has, she knows if she puts it on the ground, she's going to be able to finish up top because of her height advantage.
She's about 6 inches taller than Tanea Atkinson, who is trying to guard her. Stewart averaging just under 20 points per game, about 8.5 rebounds per game, and her shooting percentage is ridiculous as the officials go over to get something straightened out. Brianna Stewart shooting 59% from the floor and 44 from three.
That's impressive. She shot 31% from three-point line last year, and in her senior year really has upped her game.
And can she make it 4 Final Four most outstanding players in 4 years? No one else has even done it 3 times, even though even Stewie admits that Mariah Jefferson was the most outstanding player. She was, boy, Jefferson, when she gets into the Final Four, her numbers go sky high.
Well, and it's especially her scoring ability, and she's such a threat at that point guard spot. She's shooting the 3 ball very well right now, so when you have to respect her from the 3 and her quick step to go by you, she's tough to defend.
41% from 3. The shot clock has been set at 28 seconds, and they're still looking at it. Brian Brunette, Tom Danaher, and Christy Vera, our officials this afternoon at McGonigal Hall, where it is sold out. It's an intimate little building. A little over 3,000 people here to see Philadelphia native Gino Auriemma. It's a great look from Dan Regan, our director, and it's sold out. There's a lot of UConn fans here, however. Shot clock set to 24 after the slight delay, and Temple gives it up.
Stewart was all by herself. Jefferson didn't see it.
Stewart quickly double teamed. Here's Nurse from the outside, off the mark. Swatted by Stewart, but eventually lands in the hands of Atkinson. Temple staying in that attack mode. Butts with the miss, and Samuelson comes up with the rebound. Samuelson making her 9th start of the year. And Butts being very active. Ball stays with UConn, and the first sub coming in for the Huskies.
Aaliyah Butts, she's listed, Pam, at 5'4", but in talking to their sports information director, she said she's really just about 5'1".
Yeah, 5'4" is optimistic, but she is a pest out there, and that's a great play underneath. Erica Colville forcing the turnover. Atkinson left alone and drains the 3. Temple has the lead. Atkinson, who is from New Haven, Connecticut, said that she actually didn't even like basketball until she started playing it in middle school.
But Tanaya Atkinson had 27 points against Houston just Friday night.
That is a career high for her. Tuck gets in there and rolls it in. Her first bucket of the afternoon. Outside shot is missed. Rebound taken down uncontested by Stewart, and this is part of her skill set. At 6'4", she can bring the ball up the court. Tuck inside. There's that height advantage again, but good defense by Colville. Colville, a senior from Detroit. Who's afraid of Brianna Stewart? The answer is not Fountain, but she missed the shot. Stewart off the mark. Nobody checked Williams, but Colville was able to knock it away. Stewart streaks in the lane to finish.
She's just so smart without the basketball, finding the open areas to get to.
And pressure from UConn pays off. Williams with the finish. Williams has had 11 starts this year, but now coming off the bench in favor of Samuelson. Coach Auriemma would like to see a lot more consistent confidence out of his younger players.
But Gabby Williams off the bench, she brings that energy. Look at that steal by Stewart.
Almost steals, it goes out of bounds, but that's an example of Stewart who goes full speed the entire game. UConn scored the last 6 points of this game to take the 4-point lead. Fountain going out for Temple.
You know, the one thing we didn't talk about is Tanya Cordoza started 5 guards against the height of UConn and has been starting guards since the Villanova game. She said with the ability to penetrate, the ability to score the basketball, the anticipation you have defensively, why not go small?
She's gone big, putting in 6'3" Hugo Wheatway, number 5 in white, who you see. Fitzgerald, nothing doing. Rebound battled for, and it is off the hands of Colville, so it's UConn basketball.
Colville is battling inside, the only senior for the Owls, and for the past 2 years, she's had to play out of position. She's played the 4, played the 5. She doesn't care. She just wants to help her team win.
And she is a guard, a natural guard at 6'1", the reigning player of the week in the American Conference. Had 2 double-doubles in her 2 games last week. Good defense there by Wigwe, who is playing her first and last season at Temple. She graduated from Wagner College and is finishing out her eligibility here in Philadelphia.
It looks like the defense concentration is on Morgan Tuck. She's the third of the big three for UConn. She's really struggled inside.
Stewart got it knocked away by Colville, but Tuck recovered. Shot clock winding down. Jefferson knocked away, and it's Temple basketball. Mariah Jefferson almost got a steal. Butts took it away from her. Fitzgerald front rims it, and Williams comes up with the rebound. Boy, Jefferson all over the place. Stewart with the beautiful left-handed finish. Timeout, Temple. Stewie with 6 points. UConn scored the last 8 points of this game, so we're taking a timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the all-new Audi Q7.
Welcome back to Temple. The Owls trailing #1 UConn 14-8. Temple trying to get into the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2011. One impressive win came on February 6th when Temple upset number 19 South Florida. Game was tied at 66. Deonta Fitzgerald dumper behind the foul line, rolled off the rim. That's coming up, and Erica Colville is going to help him out with the putback. And Tanya Cardoza, plenty to celebrate, Carolyn, as they take it 68-66, building the resume to get in this year.
And right now with their RPI at 62, Tulane had a similar RPI when they got in last season. And I think that they're building style points with their aggressive play they've come out with against Connecticut in this first quarter.
They are second in the American Conference this year. They also had wins earlier this year. Their very first game, they beat Florida, which everybody thought at the time was an okay win, but the way Florida's playing in the SEC, that's becoming a much better win.
And Tanya Cardoza is the biggest cheerleader of the Florida Gators. Says, keep winning, keep winning.
The more Florida wins, the better Temple's RPI is. Temple, in the last 5 possessions, 0 for 4 from the floor. Now, last 6 possessions, 0 for 4 from the floor with 2 turnovers, and there's a foul that will send UConn to the line. That is the first foul called against Colville as well as against Temple. And Gabby Williams heading to the foul line for Gino Auriemma. Gabby, a sophomore from Sparks, Nevada. Had 10 points in 21 minutes the first time these two teams played. Fitzgerald going out and Khadijah Berger coming in, so a little bit more height for Temple. Williams just a tremendous all-around athlete. And some pressure from UConn. Good pass, that's up to Atkinson, but she could not finish, and Temple has gone stone cold from the floor.
And Temple has beaten Connecticut down the floor in transition, just not able to finish.
Pass tough, a tough pass into Tuck, rather. Stewart comes away with it. Pounding defense by Temple. Oh, and it goes in. Atkinson went out to contest the shot.
Mariah Jefferson, so tough. She shoots 41% from the three-point line, and to be able to knock it down through contact, All-American right there, number 4.
And that's a 3. Atkinson actually got a hand on the ball, tipped it to Jefferson, who very calmly and coolly buried the 3. And all of a sudden, the lead has gone up to 19-8, one of these patented UConn runs. Temple's gone without a point now for over 3.5 minutes. Big shot, Temple needed that. Butts with the 3. That is the first Owl other than Atkinson to score a field goal in this game. Williams showing some of that great leaping ability to get the rebound.
That's the thing with UConn. They may miss their first shot, but they're going to hurt you with that second opportunity, crashing the boards.
Over half of their points come off either a combination of second chance and points off turnovers. And that was a second chance opportunity that Williams cashed in on. Berger tumbles to the floor. Shot clock winding down. And it goes in again for a three. Aaliyah Butts, back-to-back threes, and it's a 7-point advantage. UConn, 4 of its 5 starters out there. Tuck, she can hit it from there, but that one rolls off the right side of the rim. Tuck, the second leading scorer on this UConn team.
She's really had a rough night tonight. The focus, it seems like Tanya Cordoza said, Jefferson and Stewart are going to get theirs, shut down Tuck.
She's just 1 for 6 from the floor is Morgan, who usually shoots 53%. Atkinson gets her shot blocked by Stewart. That's the 3rd block for Stewart already.
Leah Butts, listed at 5'4", maybe 5'1", but when you've got that kind of range, it doesn't matter how big you are.
Her coach, Tanya Cardoza, said Butts loves basketball, kind of wants to be Steph Curry.
Well, keep hitting threes like that. You're taking on a characteristic of his game.
Butts, a sophomore from Edgewater Park, New Jersey. Only 4 seconds left on the shot clock for Temple as Butts gets it in. They got to hurry. Butts had it blocked by Jefferson. UConn, as usual, in attack mode. Chong just checks into the game. Her 3 was off the mark. They're going to get Williams for a push in the back. First foul on Gabby Williams. 3rd team foul in this new system in women's basketball. The 4 10-minute quarters. You get to 5 team fouls per quarter, and then the other team shoots 2 free throws.
I like the 4 quarters.
I love it. Fountain off the mark. Nobody there but Williams to grab the rebound. Temple doing a good job of getting back in transition defense. Oh, but then they lost Williams. That's just beautiful basketball. Gabby Williams with 6 points off the bench already.
You saw Mariah Jefferson call for that ball screen. She knew ahead of time where the defense was going to switch.
And shorter Gabby Williams, she has 7 points off the bench. Attack in the basket. Atkinson can't get it to fall.
Yeah, the ball screen action has worked very well for Mariah Jefferson because you've got to help. There's no other way to stop Jefferson. And then you have the post roll. Head Stewart to the basket.
Atkinson with the steal and the layup. Atkinson has half of Temple's points.
Looking at Aaliyah Butts' face, the point guard for Temple, she just looks like she wants more.
Coming in here, not scared. Stewart drives right into the teeth of the Temple defense and loses it out of bounds.
You watch Mariah Jefferson in the post has got to help right there. And when that help happens, then that's when Gabby Williams is open on the slip.
Second in the nation in assists is UConn, just under 22 per game. Butts working against Jefferson, and that missed everything. As the first quarter comes to a close, UConn taking a 23-16 lead after 1. After 1 quarter of play, number 1 UConn leading Temple 23-16. The second time these two teams have played this season. Pam Ward along with Carolyn Peck. Temple lost by 55 points when they played last month in Connecticut, coming out more aggressive today.
Well, the one thing that Tanya Cordoza told us was in the atmosphere when you're playing at Connecticut, it's tough, and especially with a young team, but they're playing here at home, and they've played with a lot of confidence, and they've built that confidence from their defense. The Temple Owls start 5 guards, and they like to have an aggressive defensive presence. Even with a smaller lineup, they have done a pretty good job of clogging things up in the paint. And look, when you're turning UConn over or you're getting stops defensively, that'll allow you to build some confidence and believe you can play with the number 1 team in the country.
Temple not shooting the ball particularly well, but they have scored 4 points off of UConn turnovers. Mariah Jefferson lightning quick. Lou Samuelson back into the game for UConn to feature Collier. First time we've seen her, and she is fouled by Wigwe. First on Wigwe from Valley Stream, New York. 6'3". Wigwe is the second tallest player for Temple. And that sends Nafisa Collier to the line. Freshman from Missouri who had 8 starts earlier in the year. Now coming off the bench for Gino Auriemma.
Connecticut now extending their defensive pressure. Mariah Jefferson's, her job right now is to shut down Aaliyah Butts.
Brianna Stewart starting the second quarter on the bench for UConn. Shot missed, but Atkinson, oh boy, and that's the kind of shot, needless to say, you got to hit.
Oh, if you get that kind of opportunity against Connecticut, you got to put that one down.
And they've missed some shots in the paint. Temple down by 9 points.
Morgan Tuck really needs to get going offensively. She has struggled so far, uncharacteristically.
And the finish by Butts. Lead is only 7 in the second quarter, and that's a good call because Wigwe put both hands on Tuck, and you can't do that.
Watch quickness, number 0. Aaliyah Butts splits the defense, gets around Morgan Tuck for the 2.
Butts 5'4", maybe. 2-time American Conference Player of the Week this year. Got the ball. She's already 7th in Temple history in made threes, and she's just a sophomore. Wide open look, buried by Coville. That's her first basket. And it's only a 4-point UConn lead. Brianna Stewart going to come in at the next whistle for Connecticut. Temple making 4 threes to hang close. Jefferson misses, rebound taken down by Fountain. They're looking to run. Butts on Jefferson. Pulls up, short, Wigwe. And it's a 2-point UConn lead. Timeout, Huskies.
The Temple Owls have cut it to 2 on the #1 team in the country. We're in for a good one here in Philly.
I'm Doug Kazarian. Coming up on the Land Rover Halftime Report, Rebecca Lobo and I will look ahead to North Carolina and Florida State. Our next game, FSU riding a 10-game win streak. Also, some Atlantic 10 action going on right now. George Washington 10-1 in conference play. Let's go back to Pam and Carolyn.
Thank you very much. Jonquel Jones for GW. Name that's going to be called in the WNBA draft. Right?
Oh, I think she'll go in the top 5. She's a player averaging a double-double, and Pam Ward, she can shoot the 3.
So we'll hear from Doug and Rebecca at halftime to talk about GW, among other things. How about Temple on a 7-0 run to only be down by 2, and they go right inside to Stewart? That's good strategy.
Well, when you have Brianna Stewart and you want to stop a run, you go to number 30.
Temple's defense has been pretty good in this game, very aggressive. They've forced 7 turnovers. UConn usually doesn't turn the ball over that much. And here's a foul against UConn. This is Gino during the last break, a little heated.
24, Nafisa Collier. That's her first.
Well, I can tell you, he is expressing to his team that Temple right now is outplaying you. Usually it's the UConn Huskies that bring the energy to the court. And how does UConn respond? They go straight down low to their leader, Brianna Stewart.
Collier's foul sends Fountain to the line. Fountain, a sophomore from Roxbury, Massachusetts, which is the hometown of her head coach, Tanya Cardoza. They did go to different high schools. Fountain gets them both, and it's back to a 2-point lead for Connecticut. Connecticut's 3rd year in the American Conference, and they have yet to lose a game either in the regular season or in the conference tournament. Oh boy, Tuck, an uncharacteristically poor shooting game. She's only 1 for 7, and there's a travel. Gives the ball back to the Huskies.
Well, one of the reasons that I think that Morgan Tuck has had such a tough time is it's the defense. You've got to complement Temple's defense. But a lot of times, teams will double team Mariah Jefferson or Brianna Stewart, and that leaves Tuck open. But right now, Tuck has really struggled in the paint.
Inside, they're going to Stewart, and it's blocked by Fountain. Stewart is used to being the blocker. That time she was the blockee.
I told you Fountain has a vertical. She didn't know exactly what it was, but she told me she can dunk.
Temple has 4 blocks already in this game. Fitzgerald bottled up, trying to find a seam. Left open and buried. Fountain gets the block on one end, the 3 on the other, and the Owls lead. Sold out crowd at McGonigal. Getting a good one. Stewart desperately wants the ball inside. The double team came from Coville, but Stewart still able to beat it.
She is so tough down low inside. But Pam, I'm impressed with Temple. They just played Friday. They had to make up a snowed out game against Houston, but they don't look like they're tired. And Tanya Cordoza, she ran her team in practice yesterday every time they didn't box out.
Well, Temple has played 2 games since UConn last played, and that was Monday night against South Carolina. Temple again, a 6-game winning streak. In second place in the American Conference, but they lost to UConn by 55 in January. Fountain takes Collier to the basket, then left it short because Stewart was lurking.
Watch Denasia Fountain come with the block on Stewart. The rotation over, the timing, and then the emotion. It was still rolling on the offensive end because once she got the ball outside that arc, she knocked down the 3.
Fountain's first year playing for the Owls. She spent her freshman year at Georgia Tech. Leah Butts back in for Temple. Stewart, 10 points, 4 boards, 3 blocks, has the ball. Samuelson found a seam, turn, shot, and it rimmed out. Good look for the freshman. And then the block by Stewart. That is the 4th for Stewie, who averages about 3.5 per game. And these 2 teams played up in Connecticut on January 16th, and it was all UConn.
Well, and the turnovers for Temple really hurt them in the first meeting. So far, it's been Temple, the team that has been forcing the turnovers on the Huskies.
Tuck checked inside by Sherrill, and she missed. More good defense by Temple underneath. Tuck just 1 for 8 today. Usually a 53% shooter.
We just talked to Gino Ariema about Tuck and said she has no weakness in her game and very few mistakes.
Offensive foul called against Temple. Atkinson's second. Coach Cardoza arguing her case. She was a wonderful player at the University of Virginia.
I got to believe Gino Ariema is going to go back to Morgan Tuck. He's going to allow her to work through this, to find a way to be effective on the floor.
Stewart has a chance to shoot free throws. Ruth Sherrill, who is a transfer from Hofstra, her first year here at Temple, committed the foul, and that sends Stewie to the line on the 4th-team foul for Temple. 85% free throw shooter. Missed it. Get ready for Big Monday on ESPN tomorrow night. We have ACC men's basketball as number 7 Virginia takes on North Carolina. Then at 9 Eastern, Oklahoma State takes on number 6 Kansas, all part of Rivalry Week presented by Wendy's. Live also on the Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Kansas with another impressive win over Oklahoma yesterday, this time in Norman. So they swept the Sooners during the regular season. 2-point advantage for Connecticut. That's a wonderful pass from Fountain inside to Colville. And it's tied with 4 minutes to go in the first half.
This has been fun.
And unexpected for this UConn team that wins games on average by 40 points per game, best in the nation. Stewart got Sherrill up in the air, rebound battled for, and Stewart comes away with it. Fresh shot clock.
I'm so impressed with the rotation and communication of Temple on the floor. They're covering for each other.
Samuelson passed up the 3, better look at the 2, and she swished it. 3rd and 4th points of the game for Samuelson. Fountain front rims it. Katie Lou Samuelson with the rebound. Now Jefferson in the open court. Pull up. No good. Rebound. Samuelson has had a good couple of trips down the floor. A couple of buckets and a rebound. Had a career-high 21 against Temple the first time these two teams played.
Looking for Connecticut to pick up the tempo of the game. If Temple takes a bad shot, the Huskies are off and running.
Butts, air ball. Colville came up with it, however, and then Sherrill was fouled by Kia Nurse.
Well, Brianna Stewart, a lot of attention is being attracted to by her, and she finds Katie Lou Samuelson in a terrific shot fake, getting to the open space to score, and then getting on the O-boards. That's where the freshman can definitely contribute for the Huskies.
Gino Auriemma told us before the game that he thinks Samuelson is just as skilled as Brianna Stewart, different physically, but a lot expected of her. Mo Jefferson in there, lefty. And UConn scoring the last 6 points.
Look, in order to beat Connecticut, you've got to play a near-perfect game. Any mistake that you make, they're going to take full advantage of. They average 29 points off turnovers.
And tipped and stolen by Stewart. So long. Jefferson, that's a tough shot, and it still went in. Last 8 points of this game have been scored by the Huskies. This is a good timeout by Cardoza. We will take one as well.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Applebee's. Try new grill and bar favorites made a little better for you.
Gino Auriemma's team took just 84 seconds to score the last 8 points of this game. They lead it 38-30. Pam Ward and Carolyn Peck joining you from Philadelphia, the hometown of Gino Auriemma, his mom in the stands, sitting next to his wife, Kathy. After no doubt was a good Italian dinner somewhere in town last night.
I told you last night, I said, I bet you that Gino has taken his team to fine Italian, a great Italian meal.
Colville over Williams, who didn't put her hands up to defend, but it still was short. And now Nurse, who has not scored, lost the ball. And then picked it up because it came right to her. And a timeout granted to UConn before the tie-up. Kia Nurse's brother was a very good hockey player for the Edmonton Oilers, and that was like a hockey play. A lot of activity.
A toughness.
She's tough.
Well, I think she may have gotten away with a double dribble, but then to make up for her mistake, dives to the floor and is swarmed by a slew of owls.
Coming up Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, college basketball with what might be its greatest rivalry as North Carolina takes on Duke. Wednesday Night Hoops, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Duke is not ranked right now, but a couple of impressive wins against Louisville and Virginia. And these three gentlemen have done some winning in their lives.
Oh, and I was calculating up how many games that Gino is from reaching Pat Summitt's 1,098. And I think if my math is right, that's 158 games away.
which for UConn could be in just a few years. He's won 88% of his games, which is the best winning percentage ever in women's college basketball. Samuelson just picked up her second foul. And the immortal Pat Summitt, Sylvia Hatchell having a tough year down at North Carolina. Tara Vanderveer, boy, that Pac-12.
Oh, it's a battle.
They have a huge game later today against Arizona State. Charlie Turner Thorne's club, balanced, playing well. She always plays well. Brianna Stewart. And it's a 10-point advantage after it was tied at 30-30. We're inside a minute to go in the second half, or the first half, second quarter. Butts bothered as always by Jefferson. There's a lot at the 10.
A lot of dribbling going on, though.
Coville, that's a good look, and it was just a little bit too strong, so UConn can take the last shot of the half. Stewart for three. Boy, that's a nice, aggressive rebound by Coville, and she got fouled.
Pam, this is a thing of beauty. Watch UConn in transition. One dribble, the length of the court for 2 points.
And you mentioned Temple doing a lot of dribbling on the other end of the court. That's one of the great things about this UConn offense, the passing. Let's see what Temple does now, as we expect they will take the last shot of the half. Fitzgerald, little jump stop. Missed it. Sherrill, put back, no good. Temple going cold. The last 3 minutes and 26 seconds held scoreless in the half. UConn on a 10-0 run takes a 10-point lead into the break. Brianna Stewart, another brilliant half. Time now for the Land Rover halftime report. Doug Kazarian and Rebecca Lobo standing by. We are back for second half action in the American Conference on ESPN. The top 2 teams in the league battling today. Number 1 UConn, just a 10-point advantage over Temple, the number 2 team in the conference, as we get ready for the third quarter. Pam Ward along with Carolyn Peck. Tanya Cardoza said she was going to come out, play aggressive man-to-man defense in this game, and it worked for a good while in the first half.
Those 5 guards, they were pesky and caused a lot of trouble for the UConn offense. The rotation, the communication, the anticipation was there for the Temple Owls early, and that was leading to easy buckets. The Owls developed a lot of confidence from their defense flowing into their offense, but then the Connecticut Huskies, well, they turned their defense up. They are an opportunistic team. When you make a mistake, miss a shot, turn the ball over, they're going to make you pay. They don't even have to run an offense. You saw Jefferson with the shot, and then the follow-up by Katie Lou Samuelson. But when the UConn Huskies get out and running, that's when those long runs happen, and then you find yourself on your way back to try to get yourself back into the ball game.
Tanya Cardoza's team had it tied at 30 apiece, but then UConn over the last 3.5 minutes of the second quarter went on a 10-0 run. Tanya Cardoza trying to become the first former assistant of Gino Auriemma to beat her old boss. He was 51-0 against his former employees, and Brianna Stewart gets her first basket of the second half. Another wonderful half for Stewie, who had 6 rebounds, 13 points, and 4 blocks. Atkinson kept it alive, but then couldn't finish inside. The third time is the charge for Temple. Fountain with the basket.
Kanasia Fountain, the second effort, not giving up on the play, staying on the glass to get the 2 and a trip to the free throw line.
Second foul on Morgan Tuck, who had a very uncharacteristically poor first half. Tuck just 1 of 8 from the floor for 2 points. She did have 3 rebounds, but we're used to seeing her be practically perfect in every way. Samuelson connects from the baseline. 8 points for the freshman. Kia Nurse, also a shaky first half. Did not score for UConn, had no assists and 3 turnovers, just took 1 shot. Still had the 10-point lead. That's a pretty pass from Fitzgerald into Coville. Temple to within 9. Stewart posting up. Temple a huge height disadvantage.
Well, the adjustment that Connecticut has made, they were trying to force the ball down low to Morgan Tuck, and she doesn't quite have the size advantage that Brianna Stewart does. So Stewie goes down on the block and goes to work.
Seen her posting up quite a bit in the latter parts of the second quarter and early here in the third. Fitzgerald with the ball. She did not score in the first half for Temple, and she's their second leading scorer at 13 points per game. And Leah Butts picking up some of the slack.
Well, the thing in order to compete with Connecticut is you got to make shots. And right now, that's what Butts and Atkins have been doing for Temple.
Tia Nurse's first basket of the game. It's a three-pointer for the Canadian, who was the American Conference Freshman of the Year last year when she averaged over 10 points per game, averaging about 9.5 this year. Fountain, she's fearless. She's now into double figures.
You know, I love the mentality that Temple has come in. You see so many teams play Connecticut, and they're beat just by reading the numbers or the letters on the jersey. The Temple Owls, they've come to compete today.
Butts with the steal. Jefferson is so fast, but can't lead her down the court. 12 points for Butts as Gino's trying to figure things out, and he says, get a sub in the game. Stewart left it short, tried to keep it alive. Ball bounced, and a foul called on Fountain.
The Temple Owls are really battling. You watch Fountain just battle the glass, even with the size disadvantage. And then talk about size disadvantage. Leah Butts at 5'1". Quickness by Mariah Jefferson.
And 5'1" Butts forced the turnover. Nafisa Collier has checked in for the Huskies. Started 8 games earlier this year, now coming off the bench for Gino Auriemma as he sat Morgan Tuck down. And a foul out on the perimeter, another good aggressive move. Fitzgerald trying to get herself going. Has yet to hit a bucket today.
And off penetration has been, that's been pretty successful for the Owls, because either they're getting to the basket or after a rotation, they're able to make the extra pass.
Fitzgerald, a little bit of separation from Collier, that's all she needed. That is Fionda's first bucket, the junior from Norfolk, Virginia. And over 1,000 career points earlier this year, and it's only a 6-point lead. Terrific defense. And Atkinson can't finish on the other end. Stewart got down there in a hurry. And a whistle and a foul on the Owls. And Coville for reaching in. That is foul number 2 for her. Collier goes out. Gabby Williams comes in for Gino Auriemma. The starters get a lot of minutes throughout the season. Jefferson and Stewart played all 40 minutes against South Carolina on Monday night. Steal by Fountain, and then Stewart took it back. Turnovers just about equal. UConn only averages actually fewer than 13 per game. So they're over their season average. Stewart flashes into the lane, makes it look so simple.
She is so smooth and smart. She doesn't try to overdo things. Like you said, keep it real simple and effective.
Very fluid. Reigning National Player of the Year 2 years running, one-handed rebound for Williams. As UConn tries to get it back to a double-digit lead. more passing for UConn. Williams hits it, nobody dribbles, they pass it around, and they get a good look.
Well, they remind me a lot of the San Antonio Spurs and how they move the basketball when it moves around, because they've got guys that can score at any spot on the floor at all 5 positions.
Lead back up to 10. That was the halftime deficit. Fitzgerald blows by everybody. Fee, as she is called by her teammates, broke Carol Lawson's Virginia State tournament record by scoring almost 100 points in 3 straight games.
Carol Lawson will love that you brought that up.
She did play Virginia high school basketball before she went to Tennessee. That's Jefferson's first basket of the second half. She has a dozen to go along with 8 assists. And Fitzgerald lost the ball. Timeout on the floor. Mo Jefferson's team up 10.
Well, they're trying to extend the lead, and when you've got an All-American at the point guard that gets by you like that, you're in trouble.
Tanya Cardoza, now the head coach for Temple, but she was an assistant for 14 years with Gino Auriemma at UConn, including the 1995 championship team. There they are in the upper left-hand corner. That was Rebecca Lobo's senior season, their first of 10 national championships. And he is 28-0 against head coaches who played and or coached under him. Hasn't lost a lot of games. This is a guy who's won 88% of his games over the years, but Tanya Cardoza, after a 55-point butt whip in the first time they played last month, team only down 10 here.
You have to compliment the culture that Tanya Cardoza has here at Temple.
Samuelson has it rim out. She made a concerted effort a couple of years ago, quite frankly, to clean house and get her kind of players in here. She has some transfers. There's a tie-up. And she said she absolutely wanted to change the culture around here. She wants people who are invested in the program, who really don't care about who scores what, just so they win.
Well, she said when she took over from Dawn Staley, there was a winning atmosphere here. But then she got a group of players in, and a lot of really players that were playing for themselves. She now has a group of young women that play for each other.
Stewart with the missed rebound on the floor and picked up by Wigwe. You know, this team is very close-knit. Fitzgerald hits it. Shut out in the first half. She has 6 points here in the third quarter. And the lead is back to single digits. UConn riding a 60-game winning streak. Jefferson off glass, no good. Rebound, Williams can't handle it, but Stewart's right there to give it to Jefferson. Just when you think you have an offensive or a defensive rebound, you don't.
It's that second chance with Connecticut. If they miss, and now they shoot a high percentage, but if they miss that first shot, you can't give them that second.
Well, Stewart just plowed into Fitzgerald. That is the first foul on Stewart. This Connecticut team doing a wonderful job really throughout the years of defending without fouling. You very rarely will see a UConn player foul out of a game, no matter how many minutes they play.
Well, Gino Auriemma instills in his players, great players don't foul. And it's all effort and want to on the defensive end. You got to be willing to move your feet.
Natalie Butler in for the first time for Connecticut, number 51 in blue, the transfer from Georgetown. She's able to chase down the rebound. Atkinson sticks a hand in there with Nurse. Tied ball, UConn basketball. Coming up at Wednesday, 9 Eastern, it's the rivalry in college basketball as Duke takes on North Carolina from Chapel Hill. Wednesday Night Hoops, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's, streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Duke has won the last 3 meetings against Carolina. They take their basketball very seriously down there. Stewart got mugged and still hit it.
Her length, her ability to rise up and finish. That's fantastic. Connecticut moving the ball again, like the San Antonio Spurs. Pass, pass, without a whole lot of dribbling or hesitation.
Stewart, the only player in NCAA history with at least 300 blocks and 300 assists in her career. finishes the three-point play. And the lead is up to 13. Stewart with 22 points, coming off a 25-point effort against South Carolina on Monday.
Connecticut now going to zone to try to stop that penetration from Temple getting in the paint.
Got the biggest lineup we've seen today with Butler in there. Now on the run. Nurse just got it stripped away by Butts. And then Nurse was able to punch it out of her hands from behind. A lot of contact, nothing called. And it's UConn basketball to get it back to Jefferson. 5 steals for Mariah. Slices inside and gets the basket.
You know, I had a feeling with all that contact that happened in the backcourt, she was going to make something spectacular happen on the offensive end.
She looked like she was a little grumpy after nothing was called.
Grumpy, that's a good way to put it.
So she capped it off with the bucket. 15-point advantage for Connecticut. Butts, nothing but air. This 15-point lead is the biggest of the game for UConn.
Well, I think she said, you wanted to mess with me, make it tough in that transition. I'm going to make it tough on you defensively. Take some of that. Woo, this is nice. That's Steph Curry-esque. Off the dribble.
She is so quick. 16 points, 8 assists, and 5 steals for the senior from Texas.
She's the best guard in the country, no doubt.
Are these the 2 best players in the country, in Stewart and Jefferson?
Yes.
Butler called for the offensive foul. That's a good play by Colville to draw it.
That's a good team 4.
Yeah, she turned, and yeah, offensively. That was good positioning for Colville.
Butler coming off thumb ligament surgery in October. Slow start to her season after sitting out last year, transferring from Georgetown. Pass inside and was not handled cleanly by Koval.
Temple has the right idea when they get the ball inside, but it's the length of Connecticut that makes it so tough.
Connecticut shooting a blistering 71% from the floor in this quarter to extend a 10-point halftime lead into a 15-point advantage. There's a lot of traffic inside and a foul called on Temple.
Foul number 22, Tanea Atkinson, that's her third.
Third foul on Tanea Atkinson and the 4th team foul. So starting with the next foul, UConn only 17 seconds left in the quarter, however. Atkinson has not scored in this half after getting 8 in the first half. Butler had it knocked away. Taking it right to Samuelson. Fountain took steps. Or did they call a foul? They called the foul.
Tanya Cordoza wants it.
Basket count.
Yep, they called it a shooting foul. Look at Coach. I think she thinks she might have gotten away with one there.
Hey, you sell it. You sell it as best you can. You need every 2 points you can get.
Hey, Fountain looked like she might have taken steps, but it said the foul was called on Samuelson, her third.
Fountain has been a fun player to watch. Her energy on the defensive end and then her attack mentality offensively.
She only had 2 points the first time these two teams played last month. She's got 15 tonight, and that is banked in. Brianna Stewart, the best player in the country. She's good, but sometimes a little bit lucky.
Now, I think this is all skill right here. She knew where the basket is. Let it go, knock it down.
The top 10 NCAA tournament seeds will be revealed as of today.
And kudos to the committee, giving us a glimpse into what they're thinking right now.
All right, let's not waste any more time.
It's been a great year so far.
And the Women's Basketball Committee will reveal their second of 3. Well, they would tell us who are the top 10 teams in their rankings. And that will come halftime tomorrow of the big Monday game between South Carolina and Tennessee. UConn, needless to say, is numero uno on top of that.
I think there are a lot of coaches that want to know what's the top 16 that they're predicting, because those are the teams that'll get to host in the first and second round.
Pam Ward and Carolyn Peck joining you from Philly, where Temple is trailing by 14. Aaliyah Butts resting for a spell in front of the scores table in front of us before she threw the ball in. UConn 73% in that third quarter, hitting 11 of their 15 shots to take a 10-point lead at the half to a 14-point bulge. Temple hanging in there again. This is a team that lost by 55 at UConn last month. Fitzgerald just off the back rim.
Now the zone that Connecticut went to really has stopped the penetration and the point production in the paint for the Owls.
Temple had its best shooting quarter of the game in the third as well, but still outscored by UConn, +5. Turnover. Fitzgerald chased it down. Proville gets it out to Atkinson, left open, and she missed everything. Shot clock did not reset because it didn't draw iron. Actually, they did reset it. They should not have. But it didn't matter because UConn got the ball. Jefferson, nothing. And the ball goes over to Temple. So this was their first reveal from the selection committee, Carolyn.
And you look, there are 3 teams from the Pac-12, and another one that could slide in there, or what may be one of those top 16, would be Stanford. And they play Arizona State tonight at 9 o'clock.
Yep, that would be a big boost for Tara Vanderveer's team, the Pac-12, with the #1 conference RPI this year. And a giveaway. Stewie's going to take it all herself. Got fouled by Fitzgerald. And will shoot free throws.
Foul number 2, Brianna Fitzgerald. That's her first.
That's only the first foul on Fitzgerald, and Brianna Stewart heads to the free throw line.
And that is number 30, Brianna Stewart. Shooting 2.
Third most in blocks in history of UConn. Number 2 is Carol Walters. Do you know who has the most blocks in the history of UConn women's basketball?
Diana Taurasi.
Blocks.
Oh.
Think tall.
Oh, Kia Stokes.
No.
Carol Walters. You already talked about
Walters
her.
is second. Think
Rebecca Lobo.
Yes.
Yes.
Somewhere Rebecca's
Of
yelling at her
course.
TV screen. It's
I
me,
know.
you fool.
My bad, number 50. I got you.
Stewart, just a wonderful all-around player for UConn. Will be the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. She'll get to play and live in Seattle. That's not bad.
Not at all. One of my favorite cities.
Colville tried to get the rebound. Temple hustling all the way. Atkinson able to save it. Now she's got the ball back. Challenged Stewart, who got 2 hands on it. The ball stays with the Owls, 23 to go on the shot clock.
Atkinson going straight at Brianna Stewart.
Might want a plan B.
Right? Or at least shot fake.
Right.
I like Butts. She's quick and got a lot of gumption.
Atkinson just with the miss. Boy, Temple has gotten 4 or 5 opportunities from point-blank range throughout the game and has not been able to get them home.
And we talked about Tanya Cordoza 2 years ago. They were number 6 in the American Conference. Last year, they finished number 4. Right now, sitting at number 2.
Impressive wins in conference. A big one against South Florida. Jefferson off the mark. This, of course, would be the biggest win. UConn has not lost an American Conference game either in the regular season, where they are 48-0 over 2+ seasons, or in the conference tournament, which again this year will be held in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Keep an eye on number 21, Berger, for Temple. She's a 3-point shooter.
There she is. You got it, Carolyn.
Basket.
Now you figure they put her in, that's why she's...
To open up things against that zone. I just saw Gino Auriemma tell his team to pack it in. I knew that that would leave Berger open.
First 3 made by Temple in the second half. Jefferson takes it right back after the turnover. Morgan Tuck in the game, 1 of 8 for only 2 points. Has the ball now. That is a terrific pass over to Gabby Williams. Very unselfish for Tuck. And again, talking to Gino Auriemma before the game, I have never, and I've been covering this sport for a long time, never heard him gush about a player like he does about Tuck.
Well, he said in the freshman year coming in, all the talk was about Brianna Stewart, but he said his best post player was Morgan Tuck. Said she does not have a weakness. She's smart. She physical play. She makes good decisions. And when you're a smart player, you see that play. She sees the offense, the defense rotate over and gets the ball to Gabby Williams.
But Morgan has had an off game today, at least shooting-wise.
But she's found ways to be productive with the assists, getting boards.
And one of Gino's points was that because she has no weaknesses, there's not like one area you can take away from her to make her vulnerable because she's so good at everything. And she's a great leader. Like the off-the-court stuff is tremendous. Big question in Connecticut is will she come back and play next year? She is eligible for the draft because she has been out of high school for 4 years, took a redshirt year, and you have to wonder with that gimpy knee whether she would just say, especially if they win another title, I'm going to play pro because she has only so many games left on that knee.
She's got great options. You know, you come back and then you really would become the go-to, the star and the leader of Connecticut, or you go on to the WNBA.
Gabby Williams already with the double-double, gets 2 more points. Williams with her 4th double-double of the season in this game.
And I think if you're Gino Auriemma, because I asked him, who are you passing the torch to for leadership-wise? And he said, for next year, he said, right now, I'm not sure.
Jefferson gives Connecticut its biggest lead of the game at 17 points. And the Huskies starting to flex their muscles a little bit here in the 4th quarter. We will take a timeout as well. Mo Jefferson, too darn fast, too darn good.
Doug Kazarian here with a studio update. Let's check in on some other ACC action. Top 20 matchup. Notre Dame's Brianna Turner, part of an 11-2 run. Irish over Miami by 17 the second quarter. Just a reminder, coming up next, Stephanie Watts in North Carolina visiting Tallahassee. Florida State has won 10 straight. We'll see you then, but for now, back to Philadelphia.
Thank you, Doug. And there's Gino's mom and wife, respectively, among those watching here. Gino is a proud Philadelphia native, and in case you're wondering, these are the smallest margins of victory this year. A couple of 10-point wins over Notre Dame and Maryland, respectively. Beat South Carolina by 12 on Monday, but you see they win by an average of over 40 points per game, which is tops in the nation. And they have not lost a game in the American Conference yet. Temple shooting just 1 for 9 in this quarter, as UConn has extended its lead to a game-high 17 points.
They've gone back to the man-to-man defense.
Shot clock winding down for Atkinson. Oh, Stewart with an authoritative block.
And that's what makes Brianna Stewart so great. She is great without the ball in her hands. The impact that she has on the game, whether it be defensively, rebounding, screening. She's so smart.
And that is the one point that Gino Auriemma wanted to make with her when she came in so skilled with the ball in her hands, and she's become a terrific all-around player. Jefferson draws contact. We will take a timeout. Brianna Stewart coming up with yet another block.
Number 3-0. Not in the paint, not today.
Welcome back to Temple University. UConn has extended a 10-point halftime lead out to a 17-point advantage. Gino Auriemma with 10 national championships, and tomorrow's President's Day. So let's take a look at the presidents that he has visited at the White House after championships. A couple with President Clinton, 3 more with the second President Bush, and then President Obama, basically, he said that Maya Moore basically has her own wing at the White House because she is visited so often. Who will be in the White House next year? Who knows? But definitely they are the odds-on favorite to visit the White House again.
Well, the championship is in April. I would schedule my visit to the White House in June or July. Then you know who you're meeting with.
Yeah, then you know. It's a given. Get in there, get in, get out, go home. Mariah Jefferson at the line. Jefferson and Stewart have combined for 43 of Connecticut's 71 points this afternoon. Jefferson hitting them both, and now the lead is extended to 19 points. UConn with 72 points. They average 89 on the season. That is best in the nation. A team that has played a very, very good out-of-conference schedule, but their RPI goes down once they get into the American Conference. Jefferson, another steal. Her 8th. And you wonder next year for UConn, without Jefferson and Stewart for sure, maybe without Tuck, they're going to be a very different team, but it's just really been a pleasure to watch these people play.
Well, remember Mariah Jefferson, her freshman, sophomore year, Gino Auriemma would tell her, because she's such a pleaser, want to do everything right, so she slowed down a little bit. He said, go ahead and go 100%. Let me coach you. Be willing to make mistakes. That's a good finish by Fitzgerald, but Gino Auriemma said, go ahead and make mistakes. I will correct you, but I'm never going to know how good you are unless you just go all out 100%.
And she has been wonderful ever since. All-American last year, a certain All-American this year. Gabby Williams has had an excellent game today.
We talked about Morgan Tuck struggling offensively. Well, that's her 4th assist on the night.
Williams, 15 points. She's 7 for 7 from the floor. Also has 10 rebounds. Back-to-back buckets for Fitzgerald. But they have not stopped UConn very often here in the second half. Fitzgerald in the double figures with 10 after getting shut out in the first half. Tuck inside, just not her day.
Oh, wow. That's a tough night. 1 for 9.
That is correct. A lot of contact. They're going to get a defensive foul. Shooting foul coming up. Get ready for Big Monday on ESPN tomorrow as NC State takes on number 7 Virginia at 7 Eastern in the ACC. And then at 9 Eastern, Big 12 basketball, it's Kansas, fresh off their win against Oklahoma, taking on Oklahoma State, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Wendy's, streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
That Kansas-Oklahoma game, I bet you that Hill will not let his mom take the bed when she comes to visit and he'd go on the couch because he got out to a slow start shooting. He heated up later in that game, but they needed him from wire to wire.
Yeah, Buddy Hield did not hit a field goal in the first half. Tuck and Nurse sit down. It would be fun to see Kansas and Oklahoma play at least one more time in the Big 12 tournament, and that'd be fun to get them in the NCAA tournament. They match up well, and they've given us some entertaining games.
I thought we were going to get a couple of overtimes yesterday, but it didn't work out that way.
Stewart with another rebound. Temple is a team coming in with an RPI hovering around 60. And you wonder, as we see the selection committee will reveal their 10 at halftime tomorrow of South Carolina, Tennessee, will Temple get into the NCAA tournament this year?
Well, I think if they continue to play, I mean, coming into this game, they have won 6 in a row. Then you have, you run into the juggernaut of the UConn Huskies, but now how will they finish the rest of the American Conference? A good cut by Gabby Williams.
Pass by Stewart on the beautiful inbounds. Williams now 2 off her career high, has 17 points.
I think to seal the deal for Temple to get in the tournament, they need to beat USF, University of South Florida, and they need to beat Memphis.
And their next game is Thursday at Memphis. And Memphis beat USF earlier this year. They are a tough out. And then they play at USF on February 27th. Rolled in. Butts. You like Butts?
I do. Look, it doesn't matter how tall you are. She's got big heart. She knows how to score in space. I like her aggressive mentality.
Unanimous all-freshman selection for the American Conference last year when she averaged 12.5 points per game. Oh, Mariah Jefferson, this makes it look so easy.
And I really like her a lot, too.
Do you?
She is the best point guard in the country. She should be the #2 pick in the WNBA draft.
And she has just tied her career high, has Jefferson, with 25 points. Had 25 against Texas in the NCAA tournament last March. She also has 8 steals, another marvelous game for Mariah Jefferson. Timeout with $1:20 to go. Tonight at 11 Eastern, join us for a special Valentine's edition of Sports Center at Night with the two Johns, Butcher, Gross, and Anderson. All the NBA All-Star Game highlights and news from around college basketball. Sports Center at Night, right here on ESPN, streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. And this will be win number 116 in a row by double digits. It's been almost 3 years since they won a game by single digits. Of course, they very rarely lose. During that span, they've only lost 4 times. Notre Dame and Stanford, right? The only 2 teams that have beaten them during that span.
And Gino Ariema said there's a lot of, they're very good, good finish. A lot of good teams, but it's the great teams that are hard to find, and he's looking for the competitiveness. See who he'll run into in the NCAA tournament.
He's got to be very happy with Gabby Williams' effort. 19 points. That ties her career high, and she has not missed a shot from the floor. Courtney Eckmark, number 22 in blue, with the ball, her first time in. As we wind this down, Mariah Jefferson, 25 points, 8 assists, 8 steals. Stewart, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 6 blocks, 7 assists, 4 steals. She's good. Butler with the finish.
Katie Lou Samuelson turned her ankle after she made that pass. She's hanging in there, showing some toughness. But Tanya Cordoza has to be pleased with the bounce back. After losing by 55 the first time around, they were competitive really from start to finish in this game.
Cold shooting in the second half helped bury them. It's a 25-point advantage, which sends Gino Ariema to his 61st straight win. They now are 24-0 on the season, but a good effort from the Temple Owls. Mo Jefferson just too much. 25 points, 8 assists, and 8 steals. Carolyn and I will be back shortly with Gino Ariema. Stick around for that. Now let's go to Doug.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. Just a reminder, Jamie Cherry and North Carolina visiting Florida State. Seminoles have won 10 straight games. That's our next game coming up right here on ESPN2. We are less than 20 minutes away from that. So until then, Rebecca and I will keep you company. Alongside Rebecca Lobo, I am Doug Kazarian. Welcome into the ESPN studios, where apparently not everyone knows it's Valentine's Day.
I know. I forgot the red.
Amazing, amazing. I had to tell you it was Valentine's Day.
I know. That's bad for me.
Well, UConn fans feeling the love. 61 straight wins. What's your impression from this game we just saw? A 25-point win.
Well, in the second half, they settled down on the offensive end of the floor. I thought in the first half, Temple made them speed up a little bit. And you can't say enough about Mariah Jefferson. 8 steals in this game. 5 of them came in the second half. She knows what her team needs from her when they need to settle down a little bit. And she was able to get them easy buckets, get those steals, get out in transition, let the team settle down. They shot a really high percentage in that third quarter. You kind of were waiting for it at the half. We were talking, what's going to happen? UConn settled and found their groove offensively in the third quarter.
Pam was just talking about a previous meeting up in Connecticut. UConn won by 55. This one, 25, was a 10-point game. Hey, it was tied 30-30 with a few minutes to go in the first half. What kind of adjustments or what kind of effect does that have on a UConn squad? When coming in, you beat this team by 50 plus. and you're tied late second quarter.
I think they understood coming into this game that this was a different Temple team than the one they played a few weeks back. Temple has been playing really well coming into this game, had won 6 in a row, including a victory over a very good South Florida team. So, you know the challenges there. Last year, UConn struggled when they played at Temple as well. It's a difficult place to play. They sold out the arena for this game. And Temple, because they're undersized, they speed you up. And especially for bigger players, you don't want to play against little guys who can kind of get under you. And I think UConn had to adjust to that, and it took them the first half to do so.
61 straight games. UConn has yet to lose a game in conference since joining the American. Let's get more reaction from Philadelphia. Pam and Carolyn standing by courtside.
And not only are we standing by, Carolyn and I, but we're joined by Gino Auriemma, who just got a hard-fought victory. You beat them by 55 points last month. It was 30-30 at one point. What was the difference, at least early on in this game, when they were hanging with you guys?
Well, I think two things. One, we didn't ever seem to be in any kind of offensive flow that the entire first half. Everything was a struggle down this end, and that led to, I think, lapses on defense, and then they kind of went with that and got a little momentum, and our guys, we looked really tired today. We looked tired mentally, and we looked tired physically, and I think the Temple kids took advantage of it. You know, they are undersized, like Rebecca said, and they just put the ball on the floor and drive it at you and force you to, and our big guys, had the guards, and at our place when they came up, we just got off to such a great start shooting the ball that I think they got a little bit demoralized. But here in their building, I thought Temple played great.
Well, and you talked about your big guys adjusting to the small players at Temple. Well, your little guy, Mariah Jefferson, she was huge in taking over, and especially when you needed a big basket.
Yeah, Mariah's a little too unselfish, I think, for her own good. I keep telling everybody we're the only team in America that when we set a ball screen for our guards, they don't want to shoot it. And, when she gets it going, obviously, defensively and offensively, she just makes so many things happen. And I thought she and Stewie, they did what all Americans do. You go on the road, they play great. And obviously they got a great effort from Gabby, too. She was phenomenal today.
Well, you had one player that struggled from the floor that I've been raving about all season, and that's Morgan Tuck. What was so tough for her tonight?
I have no idea. I wish I knew. She's fine from what I can tell, but I don't think I've seen her struggle offensively like this in a long, long time. And I don't know whether she just wants it so bad that I don't know. I just think that the young guys from Temple, they're really aggressive. They get into you. Sometimes for Morgan, it's easier to play against bigger guys that she can go around than playing, little guys that are like constantly into her. So I don't know. I'm just glad it's over, and take them down and get them a cheesesteak. They'll feel better.
Yeah, so Tuck just 1 for 9 from the floor.
Yeah.
That's very uncharacteristic for her. And Kia Nurse today, not a great offensive game, just 3 points. Is that an area of concern for you as you head towards March and hopefully April for you?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is we talked about it before the game. Is we know, generally speaking, we know what we're going to get from Mariah and what we're going to get from Stewie and Morgan Tuck for the most part. But somebody else, and today it was Gabby, but somebody on the perimeter has got to knock down some shots consistently to help us spread the floor. Temple did a pretty good job. They just pack it in and make you shoot the ball from the perimeter. And Kia Nurse or Lou or somebody's going to have to, come up big in these next couple months.
Well, we saw Katie Lou Samuelson that really, they ran her off the three-point line, but she was able to hit that mid-range shot. What else do you need to see more from her?
Yeah, well, she needs to get more involved. We've been really after her because she's not a bad player in the lane, and she's long, and I think defensively she can make some plays, and we got to get her, like you said, we got to get her off the three-point line and attacking the basket because she has good instincts, and she's got a great mid-range jump shot, which, when you're 6'3", even if somebody comes out on you, you're still, up over the top of them. But, freshmen are funny. I don't know. I mean, we should go back to no freshmen allowed to play college basketball. I like that. Instead of a one and done, they shouldn't be allowed to play.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, and I saw your mom, your wife here. Did you buy roses?
I know. They're all here. And, no, you know what? I didn't get roses. But There's my mother right now. She looks pleasant. She's mad that I didn't get her any roses, I guess, but I don't know why. I'm 61 years old, and she should expect me to not be a good boy by now.
I'm sure you'll make it up to her. She'll probably take the win over the roses anyway.
Yeah, she will.
The Philly boy comes home and wins again the final 85-60. Congrats and thanks for joining us. Mariah Jefferson and Brianna Stewart combining for 49 of UConn's 85 points. For Carolyn Peck, I'm Pam Ward for Gino Auriemma. Coming up next, more basketball on ESPN2, but first let's go back to the studio.
All right, Pam, thank you very much. Good stuff at the end there. Well, Connecticut, all they do is win, 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 Rebecca.
And it doesn't matter their opponent. You look at their strength of schedule out of conference. They had the best strength of schedule in the country. They know they have to because the play dips a little bit when they get into the conference. But this is a Connecticut team. Doesn't matter the opponent. They've been able to find a way to win and win big in every game.
We were both chuckling at Gino talk about his mother. What do you know about her?
She's wonderful. You know, she can be hard to understand a little bit, but she's very much like him, no nonsense, and can put him in his place. But she is much friendlier than she appeared in the stands right there.
Yeah, tongue-in-cheek in that exchange. All right, so you talked about it, or they were just talking about it. Morgan Tuck, 1 of 9. Now, you had obviously a phenomenal career, but I'm sure you've had some lulls in your career. What's it like when you things just aren't going your way? 1 of 9.
I think it's very different for a player who does a lot of different things versus a shooter. If you're a shooter and you go out and you're struggling to make your shots, it gets in your head a little bit because that's your job. For Morgan Tuck, it's different. She does so many different things well. She still had 5 assists on the game. She still played good defense. So even if she's not shooting well in this game, it's not the type of thing that's going to affect this kid. And remember, she's always kind of the calming presence for the players on the floor. She missed some games because of injury, and when she came back, Brianna Stewart said, even in practice, life is just easier for the rest of us because Tuck is there. So this isn't a player in a situation where it's going to get in her head. I think she, outside of her shooting, probably feels pretty good about how she played today.
Your senior year, you went undefeated. Obviously, this UConn squad is undefeated, and they're outscoring opponents by over 40 points per game in conference.
Yeah.
What's it like at practice and approaching these games? How do you stay so sharp?
I think Coach Auriemma doesn't allow you to do anything other than stay sharp. You get into those games, into practices, and they're just as hard if you're preparing to go against number 2 South Carolina as they are if you're preparing to go against a team in conference. And I was talking to him before their South Carolina game, and he said, you know, what matters and what he tells his players is, do you have the respect of your teammates and do you have the respect of the coaches? If we win a game by 80 and you go 3 of 13, when you get home at night and you put your head on the pillow, you should say, all right, we won by 80, but I was 3 of 13, and that's just not good enough. And so that's what he does every day in practice. He holds the mirror up to you. Is your performance where it could be? Are you playing the best you can be today? And if the answer is no, he's not going to let it slide.
61 straight wins for Connecticut. That is now the 4th longest streak all-time, men's or women's, in Division I.